Okay, that was a little crazy. I'm just getting to know my new Apple Watch, and I could not find weight training in the workouts anywhere, so I picked functional exercise, and I'm going with it now. So anyway, let's get started. I've got my workout routine going on the watch, so everything's being monitored. And again, these days I'm doing lightweight, high rep. This particular weight is more of a warm up still, and kind of a burner weight after I do a little bit heavier. But again, just getting a little bit of a warm up going. And grab the heavier weights over here and get ready for that. Stage them here. And I'll take this time to do a little walk around here since I've never attempted to film a video before. And this is, my man cave gym setup. Went to the trouble to nail these things into the concrete wall. Instead of finishing them, I wanted the concrete. I just wanted an unfinished look in here as much as possible. The girls wouldn't let me make it too mannish down here, so it wound up looking really nice. Trying to work out, and let's go ahead and get in a little bit heavier set with my curls here. Let's see if I can get up past 13. Good. 14, going for that burn. Try to make it to fail. All right, go for another set. Same weight. My son-in-law was down here and noticed that I have two different size discs on here. And there goes Huckleberry. The reason for that is 2 10-pound discs is a little bit heavier than I want for right now. So I've got a 10 and a 5. And I use that to an advantage too. I put the heavier portion of it on the outside, which is kind of making me focus kind of on that outside of the bicep. This set, as it should be, is much harder than the first set. It's also hard to do while you're talking. Okay, one last set of these, and I'll move on to the next exercise. Let's loosen it up here a bit, tighten that down. All right, do it again. It's a habit of mine to actually count the reps, and yeah, obviously I guess you should, but again, I'm going for a burn, doing this to failure, basically get to the point where I can't lift it anymore, and it doesn't matter to me how many reps it takes to get there. So counting really isn't all that necessary when that's your goal. Your goal is to bring it to failure, get the thing burned. Picking a number target to get to can actually hurt your workout, because when your goal is to make it to a number, you'll make it to that number any way you can, sacrificing your form and everything else. It's better just to go until you can't go anymore. Okay, we're going to set up for the next exercise, and this is going to be more of a traditional front arm curl, but I'm going to use my cable here. Gives it a much nicer feel. Set this weight up here. Grab my curl bar. Connected. Okay. Put on a realistic weight for this exercise. And then set up. And again, a traditional curl, keeping my shoulders low. using nothing but my bicep, and in this case, my elbows are with my body, maybe, and I'm trying to keep them looped to the front. So I'm using that short head, the inside part of the bicep, to do this. That's what I want to feel working. That's what I'm concentrating on right now. Give those long heads a rest. And just, again, bring this to failure to a burn. Okay, actually I'm gonna lighten this up a little bit. Nice thing about working alone in your own man cave is you're not trying to impress anybody with how much weight you can push and pull and throw around. I'm just trying to do my workout, work my muscle groups. Also never have to wait in line is great. No mask requirements, no one shuts it down. And when I woke up at 3:30 this morning to get down here, it was open too. It's always waiting for me and ready to go. I spent years collecting all this equipment. I didn't just decide to go on a spending spree. I know most people don't have the kind of stuff that I got floating around in here, but there's always alternatives. Of course, there's going to the gym. I've had gym memberships for many years in my life. There's a lot of great things about it, but in the absence of being able to get to the gym and having a lot of equipment, something like this, the good old TRX, goes a long way towards keeping the workout going. Okay, I did that last set off cam, so I'm ready to move on to my next. And what we're going to do here is we're going to do a pull down. This can be a little tricky. It's a really good and effective exercise for the biceps. You just got to be careful not to turn it into a lat exercise. And again, it's really important to keep the weight at a weight that you can actually concentrate on the muscle group and keep your form good. And we're going to pull with the biceps and not the back. So you're going to add a little bit more weight on here. All right. So grabbing it much like I did when I was doing my standing curls, and I'm just going to pull it down, going for the full stretch, coming down, and really squeezing my biceps, keeping my shoulders low, and concentrating on not using my back to pull this down like a lat exercise. Mimicking my standing row, my standing curl form, but pulling it down instead of lifting it up. And I probably feel this more in the outside of the bicep and the long head than I do in the short head. And that's fine with me because I really want to concentrate on the long heads and see if I can reshape my biceps and get them to take up more of my upper arm instead of being a kind of a ball the way they are now in the upper arm. I think I'll lighten up the weight for this next set. Okay, I did that second set off cam. Get a third one in here and we'll move on to the next. Feel that burn. lost count, but that's okay. I don't care what the count is. All right. So since that kind of was another long head workout, this next one's going to be focused on the short head on the inside. Grab a weight here, and in this case, I'm going to do one arm at a time. Takes a little longer, but again, you really get to focus on the muscle group at hand. And focusing on the inside of the bicep there. Again, getting a good stretch without stopping to rest. Coming up to where, if I go past that point, if I go past parallel, I can actually feel the muscles start to disengage. So taking advantage of just working the motion that gives me the results that I'm looking for. Okay, and I'll do another 2 sets of those and then switch to the other arm. Okay, finished up with that arm. Switch it over. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. Get the stretch. Coming up as far as I need to. Get that short head of bicep, some focused burn. For years and years, I worked out in the mornings. Past a year or so, I've switched. I get into work really early now, so I switched my workout to the afternoon. And I've been getting used to that. I gotta tell you, I do miss getting up in the morning, getting all this in, getting it out of the way, but I just feel so much better in the morning getting to work after getting a good workout in. But morning workouts are not for everybody. I've also seen some studies that say you get better muscle growth benefit by working out in the evening. I think that's probably because you pretty much rest afterwards. The resting period is just as important as the workout period. If you don't rest, your muscles don't have a chance to recover. And I think working out in the morning and then doing all your daily activity kind of robs your muscles of that good rest after a workout. So that's my theory as to why maybe working out in the evening at the end of the day probably gives you a better benefit. All right, I'm going to get another 2 sets in and we'll move on to the next exercise. All right, done with that. All right, next exercise. Okay, let's go ahead and get this set up. Bring this up a little bit higher. Low, swap out this. Straight bar. Tighten up that weight. All I'm going to do here, it's kind of heavy. We're going to do 3 sets of just one forearm curl. Again, not worried about the count. I'm not used to working out and talking to someone at the same time. And in this case, it's more like talking to myself because I'm just talking into my phone. But this is a trial video. I'll stitch it all together and see how it looks for final product. Meanwhile, I'm just letting these forearms get a good burn. Back in my early teens, I used to roll papers on a paper route, sat in the back of the van, rolled papers, and the driver would throw the rolled up paper up front, and the driver would grab it and throw it out the window. I actually got some pretty good forearms out of that job. All right, now we're set up to do some side shoulders. Cannot talk this early in the morning. Got my cable set up. So this exercise, again, we're doing one at a time instead of two. It's kind of hard to do two at a time on the cables because the cables interfere with each other. So it works a lot better to do one at a time and really focus on it. And I'm gonna keep my elbow bent and lead with it. Again, keep my shoulders low, keep my traps out of the exercise, and kind of go with almost a thumbs down motion on the way up. This is actually a little bit too heavy for me for right now. I'm gonna lighten her up. There, that's better. Again, going for a nice burn and move into failure, not really caring how much weight I use, not really caring how many repetitions I take to get there. Just looking to make that mind-muscle connection and make sure that my deltoids are working, but not my traps. And I'm definitely feeling it really starting to light up on the sides of my shoulders. All right, do another couple sets of those and move it over to the other side. Let's get the other side going here. You notice that I actually switched sides on my cable rack. I like to keep it even. I don't want to put too much work on one side versus the other. I really don't want to get this thing in a position to where one side feels different than the other. I want them to wear it equally. So I switch it up when I'm doing single exercises like this. Or if I'm using, sometimes I'll even like what I was doing curls. I did all three curl sets on this side. A lot of times I'll switch it up. I'll do a set, just to keep things even. A little OCD that way, but also, like I said, I don't want this thing to wear unevenly. And feeling it in my side shoulders, deltoids, that's good. My trap is trying to engage, but I'm keeping my shoulder low and keeping my trap out of it. Leading with that elbow. A lot of times when you're doing these exercises and you're trying to get the mind-muscle connection, you're kind of changing positions around to really get that focused. And it's not always the same day to day. Sometimes you come in and you got to do it just a little bit differently to make it engage the muscle that you're looking for. So anyway, rest up a little bit and do another 2 sets, and we'll get back at the next exercise. Okay, we'll make this our last set, and this is simply going to be not sure what you call this exercise, but I like it for kind of a cool down. It's interesting enough that this movement here really does exercise the deltoids. But like I said, doing cables 2 at a time, they like to fight with each other, so I just pretty much deal with that. Again, keeping my shoulders low, pivoting on my elbows. Oh. And I'll do another 2 sets of those and call it a day. And that ends the first trial filmed workout.